Nestled at the end of Ålands Fjord, surrounded by towering mountains and cascading waterfalls, Flåm is known for its spectacular scenery, one of the world's most remarkable railway journeys. Today, thousands of visitors pass through this small Norwegian village each year. Yet hidden beneath the beauty of the landscape is a chapter of history that's often overlooked. A story of war, occupation, and a community caught in the shadow of events unfolding across Europe. Before the Second World War, life in Flåm moved at a slower pace. The village was small and isolated, connected to the outside world largely by boat and winding mountain roads. Farming, fishing and local trade shaped daily life, while the surrounding fjord provided a livelihood and a gateway to the wider world. The biggest project underway was the construction of the Flåm Railway. In 1923, workers began carving tunnels through solid rock, building tracks along impossibly steep mountainsides. It was a monumental undertaking, requiring years of labour and determination. For the people of Flåm, the railway represented progress and connection. It promised to bring the village closer to the rest of Norway. As railway work continued in the mountains, Europe was drifting towards war. On the 9th of April 1940, Germany invaded Norway. The attack came suddenly. German forces quickly secured key ports, cities and transport routes across the country. Although Flåm lay far from the main battlefields, the war would soon arrive at the peaceful waters of this picturesque fjord. On 19 April 1940, the Estonian steamship Begonia was sailing as part of a convoy of foreign ships heading north up the coast of Norway. After several attacks on the convoy by Germans, Captain Mikael Kagi broke from the convoy and hoped to find safety deep in one of the fjords. Anchoring his ship below the steep cliff near Flåm, the mountains that surrounded the village seemed like a natural refuge. But they offered little protection. A German reconnaissance plane spotted the ship, and later a group of planes came into the fjord and attacked the ship with machine guns. During the assault, Captain Kagi was struck by shrapnel and killed. The aircraft then turned their attention towards Flåm itself, bringing the war directly to the village. For a community accustomed to the sounds of waterfalls and passing boats, the roar of aircraft and the violence of war must have seemed almost unimaginable. The damaged Begonia was later scuttled in the fjord, where its wreck remains beneath the water to this day. Captain Kagi was buried in Flåm, far from his homeland. As the occupation settled across Norway, Flåm entered a new and uncertain chapter. German forces established a presence in the village, initially staying at the Fretham Hotel, but eventually building a barracks near Brekky, closer to the coastline. What had once been a peaceful community became part of occupied Norway. The surrounding landscape offered natural advantages that were difficult to ignore. The fjord provided a sheltered route through western Norway, while the railway under construction offered access between the mountains and the coast. To secure these assets, the Germans fortified positions in and around Flåm. Bunkers were constructed as part of the occupation's defence infrastructure. One still sits in ruin behind the Fretham Hotel. Two others sit above the beach just north of the river mouth. Remnants of a trench lay here as well. Built from reinforced concrete and designed to withstand attack, the bunkers formed part of the military presence that watched over the village during the war years. Today, these structures remain among the most visible reminders of the occupation. Weathered by decades of wind, rain and snow, they stand quietly against the landscape, their original purpose long gone, yet still bearing witness to a turbulent period in Flåm's history. The railway, meanwhile, became increasingly important. When Germany occupied Norway, construction of the Flåm Railway was 5 kilometres from being complete. Recognising its strategic value, the occupation authorities enforced completion of the line. What had begun as a Norwegian engineering project now carried significance for the Germans as well. Work continued despite the difficulties of wartime. In August 1940, German military freight services began operating on the railway. Passenger services followed in February 1941, finally linking Flåm with the Bergen line at Mørdal and providing a direct connection between the village and the wider Norwegian railway network. For the people of Flåm, the railway's completion was a moment of achievement, though it arrived under circumstances few could have imagined when construction first began. The line that had taken nearly 2 decades to build had opened during one of the darkest periods in Norway's modern history. Ironically, the same men who designed and built the Flåm line would be the ones who'd sabotage it to stop Hitler's troops and the flow of goods during World War II. For the remainder of the war, Flåm remained under German occupation. Life continued as best it could. Residents adapted to restrictions, uncertainty and the realities of living under foreign control. Presence of soldiers, military installations and wartime activity became part of everyday life. Yet beyond occupation, the mountains remained unchanged. The waterfalls still thundered down the cliffs, the fjord still reflected the sky, and the railway continued its journey through the landscape. When the war finally ended in 1945, German forces withdrew and Norway regained its freedom. The years of occupation came to an end, but traces of that period remained. The bunkers survived, the railway survived, and beneath the calm waters of the fjord rests the wreck of Begonia, a silent reminder of the day war reached this picturesque township. Today, visitors come to experience the breathtaking scenery and ride one of the world's most famous railways. Many pass through unaware of the events that unfolded here during the Second World War. Yet for those who look a little closer, Flåm reveals another story. A story of resilience, loss, occupation, and endurance.